14 races left to go. There's always some teams that you thought, man, at the first of the year, they were going to knock down the wall. Jeff Hammond, who among these groups right now, with 14 left to go, 4 left in the regular season, has failed to live up to your preseason hype?
Boy, I hate doing this to my friend, but the guy that has not lived up to what's going on in the organization is Richard Childress Racing.
Yeah.
I mean, they look so good, and Kyle Busch looked like he had found a new breath of fresh air there at RCR. They just have not got on track, no matter whether it's, Kyle or whether it's Austin Dillon. I mean, they just have not got anything going, especially in the Cup level. Now, as far as Xfinity's concerned, look out. They're dangerous, and they'll be dangerous all the way through the end of the year. But the Cup level, it's going to take a miracle. It's going to take somebody pulling a rabbit out of their hat and getting a win here to either get RCR at least a brief moment in the playoffs.
Neither one with the win. Kyle Busch, 18th overall in points, and Austin Dillon, hard to believe, 32nd.
Astonishing.
Yes.
When our buddy David brought in the points they give us here, and I was like, is that right? Is Austin Dillon really 32nd in points? Astonishing to me, because that just shows you the year that they are not having. And to see him that far down, unacceptable. To see where Kyle Busch is and to see all the trouble they've had. Yes, they've had trouble on the track, but it's not like they've been running 5th or 1st or in the top 10 when a lot of their troubles have been happening. This is an off year for that entire organization, and to see this happening in what should be Kyle Busch's prime, you just look at it and you think the problem isn't Kyle Busch, right? And maybe you're starting to hear some of it on the radio. You're starting to hear the frustration of it all, but I would imagine I understand Kyle Busch's frustration when you have all this talent, you have all this ability. It should be the top of your career, and you're struggling right now for mistakes that aren't necessarily your fault as the driver. You get taken out, but you're running in the back. You shouldn't be there in the first place. But sometimes you have issues on pit road that are the driver's fault. It's all compounding, it seems, in one stretch of this year, and just a missed opportunity for that team.
Hard to believe. I think also that there's been problems outside of the Hendrick Motorsport camp, dare I say, with the bow tie. Chevrolet has just not shown up this year. You got Daniel Suarez with the win at Atlanta in that wild 3-wide finish. Where else Chevrolet shown any muscle? Zero. Outside of the Hendrick Motorsports camp, which you expect to be good, the other Chevrolet teams, they're not playing. They're not even in the mix.
Well, you're expecting so much out of Hendrick because when you look at it, just look at the record right now, though. Kyle Larson does have 5 wins. Chase Elliott is second in points, and he's got 1. I mean, they're not the powerhouse we're used to seeing, but at the same time, there's not a lot of other people that are performing any better than they are. Because, again, William Byron's got 3 wins. I mean, that's 8 wins, combined just out of those guys. And let's not forget, all 4 of the Hendrick teams have won.
Well, Hendrick is the exception. Outside of Daniel Suarez, Chevrolet's not had anything going. Now, they may just be hoarding all the stuff for themselves, which I can't blame them, but.
Is it a Chevy issue? Is it a Trackhouse issue? Because right now it's Ross Chastain that is on the bubble, right, and going the wrong way. Bubba Wallace was down more than 50 points just a few races before the break, and in the last 2 before the break, he has more than closed that up by more than half, right on the cusp of surpassing Ross Chastain for that last playoff spot, which would only put 1 Trackhouse car in the playoff.
Chastain's the other driver that has failed to impress this year, and I like Ross. I think Ross is good for the sport. 2 years ago, he was the runner-up for the title, and this year with 4 races to go, we don't know if he's going to be in the championship.
Last year's Phoenix winner, which proves if you can make it to Phoenix, you can win Phoenix, you win a championship, but you have to get there. Ross Chastain, the team as a whole, again, if it wasn't for one of the closest finishes in NASCAR history, Daniel Suarez wouldn't be in the playoffs right now. There'd be no Trackhouse cars. That's a team that needs to step it up in the next 4 weeks.
But, Doug, you bring up Chevrolet. I mean, I think, here again, trying to be fair about this, you got to realize that as bad as RCR is, they're Chevrolet, but also when it comes to the Blue Oval, I mean, they have not done a lot this year. Yeah, Ryan Blaney, our defending champion, he's had a couple of wins. But Stewart-Haas, where have they been? I mean, and Penske as a whole have not been up there fighting for the regular season championship and being what that we're used to seeing with them. I mean, the total number of wins under the Blue Oval this year has been really, really tough. And until recently in the Xfinity Series, they just now, kind of caught their stride with Stewart-Haas finally getting a couple of wins, and I think that this is a really weird year after what we saw a year ago, and especially the year before that. We were expecting great things.
Dare I say, Chevy wins regular season championships. Ford seems to win NASCAR championships at the end of the season.
Lately, with Blaney and Logano following the same pattern, just kind of bumping along through the regular season, then catching fire. We'll see. This break's left everybody a chance to reevaluate. And when I say Chevy, I'm talking about everybody outside of the Hendrick bubble.
Yeah.
If you're not Hendrick, I mean, even go to JTG Doherty Racing. They're just there.
25th, yep.
They're just there. They might win a race, but as you and I were talking before we came on, Alan, you can't have 30 teams go to Daytona saying, well, that's our shot. Well, you can, because that's everybody's shot.
And they have someone will come through with that. We haven't seen that surprise driver. You are correct. Yes, 30 teams may have a shot. You can't bank on that. It's going to be the other 20 plus 25 races that determine your season.